Hello and welcome to another tutorial video. My name is Britta Swiderski and today I will be showing you how to create 5 different types of flowers with some different types of ribbon. All the ribbon is from May Arts. And this is just a guest post for May Arts on their blog, and I wanted to use some of their really cool ribbon to make 5 different types of flowers. So let's get started. First of all, I have punched some circles, both larger and smaller. This is a 2.5 inch scallop circle, and this is a 1.5 inch regular circle. The only reason I have a scallop circle is because I don't have a regular round circle. We're going to be covering up the edges anyways though, so it doesn't matter. And then I've covered my circle in this to that adhesive, and really any sticky adhesive will work for this. You can even use liquid adhesive, liquid glue, but it tends to get a little bit more messy that way. You could also use these new things from Cosmo Cricut called gloobers, and they're just one big sticky dot basically. So that's basically what you're creating when you do this. This is just a little bit stronger adhesive. So I'm going to start out with this flower first though, and I'm just going to make a regular fluffy flower, and I'm going to start out with this ribbon from May Arts. It is the RG46, and then it's a 1.5 inch striped ribbon. Really pretty. And just what I'm going to do is start it out on this edge and then kind of ruffle it up and around the outside. And you can see I'm folding and twisting, and I'm just going to go around like this all the way around the circle, and then when I get around the outside I'm just going to start moving in to the middle. And my folds are becoming more regular and closer together. And then as you can see here, we can cut off the end. I'm going to use my fabric scissors for this. We can cut off the end and then kind of twirl it in so that you have a nice little neat center right here. And in order to finish this off, we can use some glossy accents. This is some really strong liquid adhesive, and we can just apply it to the middle of our flower. I'm kind of using a pool of it here. And then just make sure our end is covered up and adhere this down. And I'm using a little bit more just to really make sure that it sticks. And next what I'll do is I'll just keep something heavy on top of it and set it off to the side to dry. The next kind of flower I want to make is a twisted flower. So for this I'm actually going to be using one of these gloobers, just because I thought it'd be fun to show different ways to adhere them down. You can of course use the circle covered in adhesive as well, but I thought this would be fun to try out. So I'm going to be using a 2-inch gloober, and I'm just going to cut it apart from the rest of the sheet so that I don't have to expose the adhesive from the other ones while I'm working on this one. And then for this one I'm going to be using some May Arts lace ribbon. This is the 3617809, and I'm just going to peel up the top layer. You can tell there's a flimsy layer of plastic and a thicker one. You want to keep it on the thicker one. And then for this, it's pretty much the same concept, except you're going to start out by rolling it, and I'm going to lift up the bottom of the gloober here and stick my ribbon. Actually, I'm going to start from the middle for this one, because this way we can regulate our edges a little bit better. So I'm going to start from the middle and just twist as tight as you want to. You don't have to make it very tight at all, just as long as you can't see the adhesive through it. It's perfect. So you just keep twisting and sticking. see I'm kind of twisting and then making it into a mountain and sticking it down so you get these kind of more fluffy petals. Okay, so we've gotten to the end of our adhesive, and now what we can do is just lift up the gluber off the little backing sheet and then stick down our extra lace. And then right away it's ready to adhere to your project. I think I'm going to put a big button or something in the middle, and that'll make a really, really cute flower. So there's our finished little crocheted looking flower. Next I'm going to do a looped flower. And for this we're just going to make loops like this that extend across our entire flower and adhere them down like this and then overlap them so they go around in a circle. So for this one we're going to be treating it a little bit differently. I'm going to use another gluber because I think these are kind of fun. And I'm going to make this a smaller flower. So this is the 2-inch one. The one I used before was a 2.5-inch. So this one, now that I've peeled off the top layer, what you want to do is you want your little loop to be at least 4 inches long so it can extend across the entire flower. So I'm just going to cut probably about 8 pieces of 5-inch ribbon, about 5-inch. I'm just going to eyeball it. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm just going to use my craft mat, like this, for a good idea of the size. Okay, so now that I have those ready, what I'm going to do is just make a loop with it and make sure the 2 ends connect, kind of squish it down so that you have this almost petal looking shape thing, and then flip it over so the good side's on top, and then you can just stick it down to the gluber. And this holds both sides down. And so we're just going to do the same thing 8 times. And I'm just going to alternate them, so I'm going to go in make it a plus sign first. Now for this part, you can see I've used up most of the adhesive. There's a few sticky parts, but I'm going to need some more adhesive to make this work. So what I'm going to do is use some glue dots for this. And first I can adhere, I'm just going to use my scissors to kind of control my glue dots. I can adhere down these middle ones that keep sticking up with an extra glue dot, so I'll just go under this first one. And now what we can do is use a glue dot to both make our little circle here, put it on this end, and then flip it over. And then we can also use a glue dot to kind of hold it in place. So we're going to put one on the back of here and in the middle of the layers. So we can put one on both sides of this little joint here. So we have our loops sticking together, and then we can just kind of stagger them. And you won't see this middle part of the end because we'll put a bow over it. So I'm just going to do this for the 4 other pieces. So now you have this really cute 3D flower, and we can just use a button like this one to top it all off. So all you need to do is thread the thread through that and then stick it on with another glue dot and it'll be good to go. You could also add some more glossy accents underneath these layers just to make sure they stick. This way you can set a heavy object on top of it and you'll make sure that they all stick down and the button will look nice and pretty on top of it. So let's move on to our fourth flower. Okay, so this is the fourth flower, and it's a variation of the flower we just did. I'm going to use the 385-5844 ribbon, and it's this pretty twill with the stripes down the middle. And for this, I'm actually not going to use any glue. So I'm going to cut little loops about this big of the ribbon, and instead of cutting them all at once, what I'm going to do is stick them down around the edge and use my tiny attacher by Tim Holtz to go around them and right by the ends of the ribbon staple. So this puts your flower petal down, and you just repeat this all the way around the flower. So you go all the way around the outside, and I'm just going to go every other one for now. That way it doesn't look like I've done the petals just all around. So I'm going to go all the way around the outside. And then we're going to do the same thing around the middle circle. We're just going to do a few less petals. As you can see, we're running out of ribbon here. So this flower does take about a whole yard of ribbon, but it's totally worth it because this look is so cute. So you can just fluff up the flower like this, and if you give it a few little fluffs here, it looks really, really cute. And now we can just add another button right on top. Maybe even a smaller one would work. And you have a nice little finished card, and the button covers up all the staples, so no glue even required. And that's pretty awesome. You can just stick this on with a glue dot, and you're good to go. So there's the fourth finished flower. Alright, for my last flower, I'm going to be using two different colors of ribbon. This one is the NR20, and this one is EA22, this darker one. And they're both kind of lightweight, and this one is kind of sheer, so that'll make a really cool effect. And what I'm going to do for this one is kind of a ruffled flower. So what I'm going to do is actually put the adhesive on the ribbon itself, and that's what's going to make this flower extra easy to work with. You're not going to have to worry about putting any adhesive on the cardstock itself. And I'm using my ATG, which is made by Scotch, and I'm just rolling down the flower, or the ribbon. So I'm going to start out with this color first, tape it to the back because my ribbon is adhesive, and then make little petals like this. And because your adhesive, or because the adhesive is on the flower itself, you get this really cute effect. And it sticks wherever you put it. And then once you get to the middle, you can just cut it off. We're going to use our fabric scissors for this. Cut it off, and then you can start again from the other direction. So you make a stripe going all the way across the flower. And you can just cut it off in the middle again. So you have this stripe going across the middle of the flower. Next, what you can do is I'm going to go around and divide this into 6. So I'm going to do another stripe here, one here and one here, and then I'll go back and fill in all the spaces with this other ribbon. So it's this cool two-toned flower. So I'm just going to put adhesive all down the back of this ribbon and then start doing my other quadrants. And as you can see, we have our bright pink done, and now we can go back with our lighter pink and then just do the same thing over this, the one that we did before, and this should cover up all the spaces, the white. So if you need to move it around or shimmy it a little bit to make sure it covers all the white, go ahead, that's fine. Ribbon is very forgiving. So we have a little change of plans here. My ATG isn't really wanting to stick to this kind of ribbon because it's a little bit more synthetic than regular ribbon. So what I'm going to do is just use a glue dot on it, if I can get it on here, and that will hold it to the back. And then what I can do is use my stapler again to staple it in place right here. And then you can make another ruffle to cover up the staple. And then staple that down. Make another ruffle to cover up that staple. And then one last ruffle. And now you're at the middle. So you can cut that ribbon off. And you can see it adds the same effect, it's just a little bit more fluffy. And that's some nice difference in texture. So I'm going to do that around the rest of the flower. Okay, so now that I have my little ribbon all done, or my ribbon flower all done, I can add this button on top. And you can see there's definitely a lot of depth. There's more than one color on this one, and isn't it just fabulous? So I'm going to grab all of my little flowers. So here are the finished flowers. This is the first one we did, followed by this one, then this one, then this one, then this one. And I've added the little buttons to the middle with some thread. Then this is just one that has a shank back, so I added it with some glossy accents and glue dots. And I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial of how to use Mayart's ribbon, use up your scraps, use up new stuff that you just can't wait to use to make beautiful flowers of all different looks. For more information, you can visit the Mayart's blog at mayarts.com/blog or my blog at brittaswiderski.com. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've learned a lot. Here are the finished flowers in a picture. And I'll catch you again next time on the Mayart's blog.